Hello, you glorious gamers. It's been a while again, but I am here to review a new game. So thank you to Pretty Soon and Pebble Dust Games for the review copy. Now let's get into the review of Blossom: The Seed of Life. Blossom is a game about a small robot trying to terraform Mars to start life again, connecting power and water lines in a maze of wires to keep the terraformation process running. Equal parts endearing. Just look at this, it's adorable. As well as frustrating due to the amount of jank in the game. The story is quite simple. This little robot called Blossom is trying to terraform Mars and start life again. There are no spoken words. You find pieces of the story littered as archived records across the map. You learn about the world and Blossom through it, as well as Blossom's own notes. What happened to the world, as well as Blossom's own perseverance and ever-present loneliness. The atmosphere of the game is rather melancholic. I felt it throughout. And while playing it, I found that despite Blossom not saying anything, I was getting invested in her story. A touch of hope. In this game, you gather materials to build, whether it is to build things that generate power to sustain itself, or power the machines used in the terraformation process. A large theme of this game is connection. Through power and water cables, everything you build is connected. A machine will not just magically run because you have a solar panel somewhere. You must manage these connections, upgrade them, and streamline them. Blossom is herself an example of this. She must always be connected. This is literal initially, or her battery starts to drain. If you look at it a certain way, Blossom's charge is their very life. Without it, their body falls, and every step or mind resource hastens the end of that life by draining it faster. It mirrors biological life, but it is so much more stark due to how direct it is. You venture out into the wasteland to gather resources, which you use to build things, which help you refine and build more things to help you gather more resources. It is that type of game, where progression leads to you building larger and more complicated things, which allow you to build even larger things, all of which need to be connected and powered. Unfortunately, the game can be rather finicky. Sometimes I ended up selecting a port instead of a machine, detaching a cable and attaching it to myself instead of activating the machine. Sometimes I have to run to bring a cable back to a machine because I completely detached it. It happens a decent amount. I did grow used to it, but it was always there. It is the same when dealing with and storing materials. There is a bit of automation later on that can help mitigate it, but it is always there in some capacity. There is also base building, so you can build to satisfy that creative home building urge that every survival-like game gives you. You can build a perfect base for Blossom to enjoy. I mean, look at her. She doesn't need to sleep, but she definitely has the right spirit for it. The game shines in moments like this. It is completely unnecessary for a robot, but it adds personality, flavor to the game and to Blossom. The exploration is rather lacking, however. The map is small and rather bland. Other than the recorded notes, materials, or getting something specific, there is no reason to explore. There is no sense of wonder or adventure when exploring. Nothing drove me to commit any amount of risk. Nothing that makes you go, whoa. The only thing worthwhile is that which you build yourself. I enjoyed the gameplay. The loop kept me engaged and entertained. Always just one more thing to add or upgrade. I will admit that in my opinion, gameplay-wise, the game does fall off near the end. Not much I can say about the soundtrack and sound design. I am not the best with the beeps and the boops. Mostly I can only tell if something is okay, great, or bad. I would say in my opinion, the sound design and the soundtrack is good. One soundtrack sticks out to me. It sounds like a bunch of discordant piano keys. I can't decide if I liked it or not, but I will not deny it fit the mood, if a bit intrusive. There are definitely a few bugs and issues that need to be ironed out. Getting stuck on terrain in weird ways. The torch not always working, although that one was mostly on the Steamdeck. There was even this issue where the whole screen started shuddering violently whenever I walked through a forested area. That happened more than once. Oh yes, and the game also crashed twice. So it can be rather buggy. And I don't mean the buggy you drive around in. that was horrible. But other than the crashes, I never encountered anything truly game-breaking. I still at least hope these things can be patched up. There was a bit of an issue traversing the grass and tree-filled areas. It absolutely destroyed the frame rate of my PC. Actually more than halved it. It was maxing out my GPU on the high graphical settings. And I run an RTX 4070 Ti Super. I had to lower it to medium and I still had issues. Outside these areas, I had no problems performance-wise. It ran fine, except for the occasional hitch whenever it auto-saved. I played a lot of the endgame on my Steamdeck, Now, if you heard the technical part of my video, you might be questioning my sanity. And yes, it could be rough at times. The forested area could tank my FPS to 12, but those are not the areas you are always in. Mostly, I wanted to see if I could play the late game on it. And I could, just not always well. I'm actually surprised the game didn't crash on it. On the Steamdeck, it ran well in the beginning of the game. I was pleasantly happy with it. It sat at medium settings and I did not have a problem, except for the torch bug and the flickering lighting. The flickering lights was only on the Steamdeck. Overall, I would not recommend playing it on the Steamdeck. You can if you wish. It would technically work, I just wouldn't find it enjoyable. As a positive, I found the gameplay loop fun. It's not the most advanced or intricate system, and I'm glad about that. I found building up and running everything relaxing. It makes you think, but does not make you stressed. One other large factor was Blossom herself. She kept bringing me back. Reading her notes, her adorable design, the glimpses into her personality, it all made me want to see her journey to the end. Of course, this could just be me being overly sentimental. I can't be like that, but at least for me, one of the unique draws of the game is Blossom herself. On the negative side, while I know the developer wanted a game that did not constantly hold your hand, that they wanted a game that let you experiment and figure out things for yourself, I can't help but find the onboarding process rather annoying, disrupting the experience. I can understand not saying anything about Blossom's battery level being displayed on her back. I learned that the hard way. It was a teaching moment for me, and that is an example of this kind of thing being done right. But it took me way too long to figure out how to take stuff off my backpack. It was annoying and completely took me out of the experience in a disruptive way. The worst part is that there is enough jank in the game to make you question whether it is intentional or not. And you do not want people questioning whether something they are struggling with is an oversight in the game. One such example is building a station launch panel. However, it needed to be placed in an escape pod. I never built an escape pod, so I spent forever searching and trying to unlock schematics for an escape pod. As it turns out, the place you start the game in is an escape pod, and you are meant to build it there. Now this seems extremely obvious, right? Except I never saw it once be referred to as an escape pod. More importantly, does this look like an escape pod? The base of it looks like an actual room. It even has windows. I never thought of it as an escape pod because of this. And since this game is not first person, you have to go out of your way to get a proper view of something tall. It all seemed purposely obtuse. Despite my gripes with it, when I think back on my experience with the game, what stands out the most, more than my frustration with specific things, was the enjoyable gameplay loop, as well as my investment and attachment to Blossom. It's reminiscent of Wally, and it did manage to elicit emotion from me. Of course, I'm a rather emotional person, so take that how you will. I ultimately enjoyed my time with Blossom, the Seed of Life. It took me 23 hours to finish it. I know I sounded a bit negative about the game. It mostly stemmed from 3 parts: bugs, jank, and the occasionally obtuse game design. But that is not enough to truly take away from the whole experience. And it was an enjoyable experience. It's not some groundbreaking game, but it doesn't always have to be. I did not regret the time I spent playing it. Overall, if some of what I said appeals to you, I would recommend it. At $17 or €16.50, it might be your type of game. I am just here trying to relay the thoughts and experiences I had with the game to you. So if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help me out. Thank you for watching.